greatest cruelty of man lies in his ability to debase another when pain becomes a means to achieve his goals.
In 1903, in the state of Maryland, North America, something happened that forever placed this area on the map of mysterious events. These events to this day evoke fear and unease. One summer morning, a circus caravan appeared on the outskirts of a local town. It was a sight that sparked great curiosity. Wagons adorned with intricate paintings, tents made of shimmering fabric, and a group of people whose appearances were as bizarre as they were fascinating. A circus with a name no one had ever heard before, ZOOLU, seemed to emerge out of nowhere. It quickly became known as the Freak Circus. Eager for entertainment, the townsfolk enthusiastically welcomed the news of performances scheduled to take place in their town. However, with the circus's arrival, an indefinable unease began to fill the air, an unease that grew into fear with each passing day. The first performances of the Freak Circus drew large crowds. The tent was filled to capacity, and the audience eagerly awaited the spectacle. When the lights came on, performers unlike anything anyone had ever seen took the stage. There was a mutant woman with a body as flexible as a snake, a man covered in thick fur resembling a wolf, grotesque figures with haunting appearances, mutated animals, and even a man with 4 arms who claimed he could see the future. On one hand, the audience was fascinated, but on the other, they were terrified. These figures looked as if they came from another world. However, it wasn't the performances that were the most extraordinary, but rather the artists themselves, or more precisely, where they truly came from. How were they created? Are they natural anomalies, so-called freaks of nature? Or did someone deliberately design and create them? The truth might be more terrifying than anyone could possibly imagine. It wasn't long before strange things began happening in the town. A young woman, the baker's daughter, went missing. She was last seen leaving the circus tent. Initially, it was thought she had run away from home, but the next day, another person vanished, a local blacksmith who had also attended the show. News of the disappearances quickly spread. The townsfolk began linking these events to the circus's presence. Some claimed to have seen strange figures wandering the area at night, while others swore they heard screams coming from behind the circus tent. Fear began to overshadow curiosity, yet many continued to attend the performances, seemingly hypnotized by the magic of the Freak Circus. A few weeks later, a group of brave townsfolk decided to investigate the circus. Under the cover of night, they sneaked into the circus grounds. They found wagons locked with heavy padlocks, and faint sounds could be heard from within. One man swore he saw people in cages through a crack in a wooden wall. However, they were unable to get inside as they were scared off by the circus guards. The townsfolk alerted the authorities. The police arrived at the circus but found no evidence of illegal activity. The circus owners, a refined middle-aged couple, were polite and persuasive. They claimed all their performers worked willingly and dismissed the accusations as baseless. Nevertheless, the locals couldn't shake the feeling that the circus was hiding a dark secret. The breakthrough came when Howard Smith, a journalist from Washington, arrived in town, intrigued by the disappearances. For several days, he observed the circus, searching for a way to get behind the scenes. Despite his efforts, all entrances to the backstage area were heavily guarded. Finally, he seized an opportunity when a circus worker let his guard down and slipped in unnoticed. Under one of the tents, he found a staircase leading to an underground chamber. Inside were cages holding people in various states. Some bore signs of surgical procedures, while others appeared utterly dazed. In the corner stood an operating table covered with surgical tools. What the journalist witnessed exceeded his darkest imaginings. Here's an excerpt from his report.
images from my memory. When I went in, I expected to find something illegal, perhaps people forced into labor, desperate performers locked in cages. But what I saw surpassed all bounds of human comprehension. The air in the underground chamber was heavy, saturated with the scent of blood and chemicals. The light from the oil lamp cast long shadows on the walls, and in those shadows hid a truth I wish I had never uncovered. In the corner of the room stood cages. They weren't empty. People, I'm not sure if I can still call them that, lay in inhuman positions, curled up like animals, with scars from surgeries etched into their bodies. Some bore grotesque deformities. Others appeared completely dazed. One woman stared at me with hollow eyes, as though her soul had long since abandoned that place, leaving behind nothing but an empty shell. Nearby stood an operating table, laden with tools, scalpels, saws, needles. They were too worn, too bloody to believe they had been used for anything other than torture. But the worst were the sounds, not screams as one might expect. It was something worse, a quiet, suffocating sobbing, occasionally broken by moans of pain. It was as though these people had resigned themselves to their fate, yet their bodies still fought back, producing those final, pitiful noises. I now ask myself, what does it mean to be human? Because if we as humans are capable of something like this, do we not cross the line where we lose the right to call ourselves human beings? I saw something there that was more monstrous than any artist on that circus stage. It was pure, untainted malice and cruelty, not born out of the need to survive, but from a thirst for control, simple, sadistic curiosity, and personal gain.
The next day, before the journalist could alert the authorities, the circus vanished. The tents were dismantled, and the wagons had disappeared without a trace. All that remained was trampled earth and a few discarded props. The authorities launched an investigation, but the circus owners and their workers had vanished without a trace. For years, the fate of the missing people remained a mystery. No evidence of the freak show circus was ever found again. The locals began to believe it was an entity not of this world, one that came to claim its harvest before disappearing into the ether. Though over a century has passed, the legend of the ZOOLU circus endures. Stories circulate about how the spirits of the missing still haunt the circus's former grounds. Some claim to have heard strange noises at night, laughter, screams, and cries. Others report seeing figures resembling the performers from the circus. The freak show circus has become a symbol of fear of the unknown. What occurred in its shadow remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of the region.